What if I told you that some of the nuts you've been eating for years, maybe even your whole life, could actually be harming your brain right now? And what if I told you that making just one simple change could help protect your cognitive function for years to come? I don't usually make videos this direct, but after what happened to my father, I couldn't stay silent anymore. So stay with me until the end, because I'm going to share the exact morning ritual that's helping thousands of seniors reclaim their mental clarity. It's something the food industry would rather keep quiet. Here's the truth almost no one is talking about. As we age, our bodies don't process food the same way, especially not nuts. What was perfectly healthy in your 40s or 50s can actually become harmful in your 60s, 70s, and beyond. And I'm not talking about allergies or sensitivities. This goes much deeper. There's a biochemical shift that happens with age, especially in how we process certain fatty acids and compounds found in popular nuts. This research has been quietly emerging for years, but you rarely hear about it. Why? Because there's no money in telling you to stop buying a healthy snack. But I'll tell you what most doctors won't. For seniors, the kind of nuts you eat matters, for brain health, for heart function, for how long and how well you live. What I'm about to share changed everything for my family, and it might do the same for you or someone you love. 3 years ago, my father started forgetting things. At first, it was small stuff. Misplacing keys, forgetting a neighbor's name, mixing up the days of the week. We all brushed it off as normal aging. He was 73 after all. But then one morning, he called me, confused. He couldn't remember how to make his morning coffee, something he'd done every single day for 50 years. That's when I knew something was really wrong. Doctors ran tests, shrugged it off as normal cognitive decline, and handed us a list of medications. The side effects? Even worse than the symptoms. But I refused to believe that the brilliant man who built his own business, raised 3 kids, and could once recite poetry from memory, was simply fading away. So I started researching. I connected with neurologists, longevity experts, and functional medicine doctors, people working outside the conventional system. What I found shocked me. There's a direct connection between certain foods, yes, even healthy ones, and brain inflammation. And the biggest surprise? The nuts he'd been eating for decades were contributing to his decline. Let me walk you through 4 common nuts seniors should approach with caution. 1. Cashews, the hidden spike. Cashews might seem innocent, even healthy, but they're one of the highest carb nuts out there. For seniors with reduced insulin sensitivity, these carbs can cause blood sugar spikes that lead to brain fog and long-term cognitive issues. They also contain oxalates, natural compounds that increase inflammation, especially in people over 65 whose detox systems are slowing down. And that inflammation doesn't stay in your gut. It travels. It can reach your brain. 2. Peanuts, the silent toxin. First off, peanuts aren't even true nuts, they're legumes. They're one of the most common carriers of aflatoxins, toxic compounds produced by mold that can grow on stored peanuts. And as we age, our bodies become less efficient at clearing out toxins. So they build up, and research shows they may contribute to neurological stress and cognitive decline. Peanuts also have an unhealthy omega-6 to omega-3 ratio, which can fan the flames of inflammation in an already aging brain. I watched my father snack on peanuts daily, thinking they were healthy, while his memory slipped further and further away. 3. Brazil nuts. The overdose risk. Brazil nuts are packed with selenium, a crucial nutrient for brain health. But here's the catch. Just 2 Brazil nuts provide more than 100% of your daily selenium needs. Eat too many, like many well-intentioned seniors do, and you risk selenium toxicity. The symptoms? Mood swings, memory problems, even nerve damage that looks like early dementia. And because the symptoms mimic normal aging, the real cause is rarely identified. 4. Conventional almonds, the chemical burden. Almonds are often considered a superfood, but most commercially grown almonds are chemically treated, including fumigation and pasteurization. Those residues? They're hard for the aging body to eliminate and can contribute to what neurologists now call toxic load syndrome. As the blood-brain barrier becomes more permeable with age, those toxins can make their way into your brain, where they don't belong. Plus, modern almond farming has skewed the omega balance, increasing pro-inflammatory compounds that may worsen cognitive issues. When we switched my dad from conventional to organic, raw almonds, we saw noticeable improvements within weeks, The doctors couldn't explain it, but we lived it. The turning point. Once we cut out these 4 nuts and replaced them with 4 brain-boosting alternatives, something incredible started happening. The brain fog began lifting, the memory slips became less frequent, and the spark in his eyes, the one we thought was gone, started returning. 6 months later, the same doctor who had told us this is just part of aging was stunned by his cognitive test results. But we weren't, because we had discovered a simple but powerful truth. The right foods and the right swaps can radically change your brain's future. This isn't some miracle cure, it's not a gimmick, it's about working with your body's biology, not against it. Ancient wisdom, modern science. What's amazing is that many of these insights aren't new. Traditional Chinese medicine, for instance, long recognized that certain nuts should be reserved or avoided by older adults. They even had a name for mental clarity, Shen, and they believed certain foods either nourished it or clouded it. Now modern science is catching up, so if you're over 60 or love someone who is, understanding how foods interact with the aging brain is one of the most powerful things you can do. And it starts with what's in your morning handful. Clarity and spirit, rediscovering ancient wisdom. It might surprise you, but the nuts recommended in traditional healing systems align closely with what modern science is now confirming. In traditional Chinese medicine, certain nuts were used specifically to support Shen, what we might now describe as clarity, memory, and spirit. And in India's Ayurvedic tradition, nuts were categorized by their effects on the aging body, with recommendations that mirror today's best research on neurological support for seniors. Somehow, our ancestors knew what we're only now proving through science. Specific foods, especially nuts, can either fuel or fog the aging brain. This powerful blend of ancient wisdom and modern research is what helped my father recover mental clarity when mainstream medicine had nothing more to offer. And it forms the foundation of the simple, daily recommendations I'm about to share. The brain revival begins. 4 nuts every senior should know. Let's start with the first one, walnuts. Nature made these little powerhouses look like tiny brains for a reason. Walnuts are rich in ALA, a plant-based omega-3 that nourishes brain tissue, promotes neural growth, and crosses the blood-brain barrier effectively. A landmark UCLA study even found that seniors who ate walnuts regularly scored better on cognitive tests, regardless of age, gender, or education. When my father started eating just 7 walnuts each morning, his verbal memory improved within weeks. This wasn't a miracle, it was his brain finally receiving what it needed. The second nut? Pecans. Often underrated, pecans are packed with proanthocyanidins, powerful antioxidants that protect aging brain cells. They're also a great source of vitamin E, which is essential for brain health, especially after 65. Shockingly, over 90% of seniors are deficient in this nutrient. Pecans also provide healthy fats that improve blood flow to the brain. Once we added a small handful of pecans to my father's routine, his processing speed, the time it took him to think and respond, began to improve, surprising even his doctors. Next, the third nut, pistachios. These green gems do more than just taste great. They improve blood vessel health, which is vital for keeping oxygen and nutrients flowing to the brain. They contain B vitamins, carotenoids like lutein and zeaxanthin, which benefit both eyes and brain, and antioxidants that reduce vessel damage from aging. Healthy circulation equals a sharper brain. And for my father, regular pistachios meant fewer mental fatigue episodes and better daily focus. Finally, we have the fourth nut, pine nuts. These are rarely talked about in Western nutrition, but they've been used for centuries in traditional medicine for mental clarity. They're rich in pinolenic acid, a unique anti-inflammatory fatty acid, and manganese, which supports mitochondrial function in brain cells. Mitochondria are your cells' powerhouses, and keeping them healthy helps maintain mental energy and endurance. We noticed my father could think more clearly for longer after adding just a tablespoon of pine nuts daily. A simple morning ritual that changed everything. Here's the exact routine we used. Something anyone can do, no fancy recipes or time-consuming prep. Each morning, my father blends 1 tablespoon each of freshly ground walnuts, pecans, pistachios, and pine nuts, with a serving of organic plain yogurt, a teaspoon of raw, local honey for its antioxidants and brain-boosting enzymes, and a dash of Ceylon cinnamon, which supports blood sugar balance and brain health. We call this his cognitive quartet. It takes less than 3 minutes to prepare, but the benefits can last the whole day. Think sustained energy, sharper recall, more stable mood, and most importantly, a sense of self-returning. The live bacteria in yogurt also support gut health, which we now know is deeply connected to brain function through the gut-brain axis. What the science actually shows. Let's break down why this works. Each nut provides a different antioxidant profile, which together combat the oxidative stress that accelerates brain aging. They supply key fatty acids, the raw materials your brain needs to rebuild and repair. They calm neuroinflammation, one of the main contributors to age-related cognitive decline. They support blood flow, delivering vital nutrients and oxygen to brain tissue. And they promote neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to form new connections, even in old age. Together, these effects support not just memory, but mental resilience, alertness, and emotional stability. Beyond research, a real-life transformation. But I want to be clear, this isn't just about studies or lab results. 6 months into this ritual, my father called me to tell me about a dream he'd had. He described memories from his childhood in vivid detail, stories he hadn't told in decades. A few months later, he remembered every single one of his grandchildren's birthdays. A year earlier, he couldn't even remember their names. When he went back for cognitive testing, his doctor was stunned. The improvements were undeniable. Eventually, he asked us to document everything we had done. Now, 2 years later, my father leads a brain health group in his community, sharing the same strategies that helped him when medicine had nothing left to offer. What society gets wrong about aging? We've been conditioned to believe that mental decline is just a normal part of getting older. That confusion, forgetfulness, and fog are just how it is. But this belief is not only false, it's dangerous. Yes, diseases like Alzheimer's are real. But for millions of seniors, cognitive decline is not inevitable. It's often driven by inflammation, poor circulation, and nutrient deficiencies, issues that can be addressed. The idea that our brains are doomed to fade away is a myth, and it robs people of hope and dignity in their later years. Making this real in your life. If you're thinking of starting this protocol, here are a few tips to make it work. Go organic whenever possible, especially for walnuts and pecans. Store nuts properly. They go rancid easily. Keep them cool, airtight, and use them fresh. Soak your nuts. 6 to 8 hours in filtered water removes enzyme blockers and improves absorption. Grind fresh daily. This boosts digestibility and nutrient release. Stay consistent. Small daily doses beat occasional large ones. Clearing up the confusion. Let's bust a few myths while we're here. Not all nuts are equal. Different ones offer different brain effects. Raw isn't always better. Light roasting can improve nutrient availability. Organic does matter for nuts. Their high oil content absorbs more pesticides. Allergies to one nut don't mean all nuts are off limits. Most are from different plant families. And finally, this isn't alternative medicine. It complements your doctor's care. A new way forward. This isn't just about memory, it's about identity. It's about seniors reclaiming not just their past, but their ability to engage with the present. When you give your brain what it needs and remove what holds it back, you unlock possibilities that many have given up on. My father is living proof of what's possible when you refuse to accept decline as your destiny. And now, so can you. The power of precision, how the right foods can transform the aging brain. As we grow older, our brains face challenges that general nutritional advice simply doesn't address. The blood-brain barrier becomes more porous, allowing harmful toxins and inflammatory compounds to seep into delicate neural tissue. Mitochondria, the energy factories of brain cells, become less efficient. Production of acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter essential for memory and learning, declines. Meanwhile, neuroinflammation rises and oxidative stress increases as the brain produces more free radicals, but becomes more vulnerable to damage. And yet, nature offers help. The 4 specific nuts I've recommended aren't chosen at random. Each one targets a different, age-related weakness in the brain's defense system. Walnuts deliver ALA, a plant-based omega-3 that helps maintain neural membrane integrity. Pecans supply rare antioxidants that neutralize the free radicals most damaging to brain tissue. Pistachios support the tiny blood vessels that nourish the brain, improving circulation. Pine nuts provide powerful anti-inflammatory compounds that calm overactive immune responses in the brain. A global pattern hidden in plain sight. Across the globe, cultures that traditionally consume these nuts show striking patterns of mental longevity. In the Mediterranean, where walnuts are a daily staple, Many seniors maintain sharp minds well into their 80s and 90s. In parts of China, pine nuts have been prized for centuries as longevity food, and older generations there often display excellent recall and mental clarity. Among indigenous populations in North America, the regular consumption of pecans has long been associated with cognitive resilience into old age. While correlation doesn't prove causation, the consistency of these patterns across diverse regions and genetics strongly suggests something protective is at play, something science is only now catching up to. How to make it work. Practical applications. You don't need to completely overhaul your life to benefit. A few simple changes can go a long way. If yogurt isn't your thing, try blending the ground nuts into a morning smoothie with berries and oat milk, or stir them into oatmeal along with cinnamon and blueberries. Sprinkle a spoonful over a salad for lunch. Some people enjoy making energy balls with the nut mix, raw honey, cinnamon, and dried cherries. Perfect, convenient snacks that keep your brain fueled all day. The secret is consistency. Even the best foods can't help if they sit untouched in your pantry. Choose forms and flavors you enjoy so that sticking with this protocol feels effortless, not like a chore. Nourishing the whole brain, not just parts of it. While today's focus is on food, it's crucial to understand that no single change works in isolation. My father's incredible recovery didn't come from nuts alone. It came from integrating nutrition into a holistic brain health lifestyle that included daily walks and light exercise to boost circulation, deep restorative sleep to consolidate memory stress reduction through mindfulness and breathwork, ongoing learning and social engagement to keep his mind active. The nuts provided the raw materials. The lifestyle gave his brain the environment it needed to rebuild. Track your progress. Thoughtfully, improvement takes time, weeks or months, not days. Just as decline happens slowly, so does healing. Keep a simple journal. Note how your recall, focus, mood, and mental stamina change over time. Some people feel sharper within a few weeks. For others, particularly those with more advanced cognitive decline, it might take 3 to 6 months. The speed of progress depends on several factors: your current nutritional status, gut health, medical conditions, medications, and how long the decline has been in motion. Be patient. Stay consistent. The brain rewards those who persist. The most empowering truth of all. If there's one thing I hope you take away, it's this. You have agency. The narrative that aging equals inevitable mental decline is not only outdated, it's dangerous. It convinces millions of seniors to surrender their cognitive potential before the battle even begins. But the latest research and real-world stories like my father's tell a different story. Cognitive decline is not an unchangeable sentence. It is a path, one that is shaped step by step by your daily decisions. Even something as simple as which nuts you eat can initiate profound biochemical changes in your brain. Let's be clear, not all nuts are created equal to fully benefit from this protocol. It's important to know which nuts to avoid as well. Cashews and peanuts often trigger inflammatory responses in sensitive individuals. Excessive Brazil nuts can lead to selenium toxicity, which may impair neurological function. Conventional almonds are often exposed to high pesticide loads, which may accumulate in brain tissue over time. Instead, choose the 4 that truly nourish: walnuts, pecans, pistachios, pine nuts. Each supports the aging brain through a different, powerful mechanism, reducing inflammation, protecting neural structures, improving blood flow, and supporting neuroplasticity. One ritual, one choice, every day. Every morning, when my father prepares his nut mixture, he's doing more than making breakfast. He's choosing the brain he'll live with tomorrow, next month, and in the years to come. You have that same power. Today, what will you choose? Final message: if you or someone you love is facing memory loss, brain fog, or cognitive fatigue, don't just absorb this information, act on it. Even the smallest step, a handful of walnuts, a decision to replace peanuts with pecans, can set your brain on a different path. Day by day, meal by meal, you are shaping the architecture of your future mind. Your brain is always listening. Nourish it, intentionally, consistently, and wisely.